and welcome back to my channel. You may have noticed a little bit of a change in the intro. I will elaborate on that further down the track in the video. So yes, you're in the right spot. Yes, it's still me. Don't stress. But yeah, we'll talk about that later on. So today's video is my 20k Q&A because, as some of you may already know, or as you may have guessed from the title of this video, I have recently reached 20,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which is so surreal to think about. I actually think I'm at like 22,000 now. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. You guys keep me going. You've given me life during lockdown and over the last 2 years. I honestly cannot thank you guys enough. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And to celebrate, I thought we could do a little Q&A video because, to be honest, I actually can't remember if I've ever done one. If I have, it's probably a really, really long time ago, and clearly there are a lot more of you now, so I thought it could be fun for you guys to learn a little bit more about me, and we would do a Q&A video. So basically I asked you guys to send in some questions on my Instagram account, and that's what I'm going to be answering. There are quite a few, so bear with me if your question doesn't get answered. I'm really sorry. I'm going to try and do as many as I can within, like, you know, an ideal time frame. I don't want this video to go for like 3 hours, but we'll see how we go. So thanks for sending in your questions, and let's get started. I just want to start off by saying that these questions are being answered in absolutely no particular order. I'm literally just going to be scrolling through the Instagram responses, so hopefully it's not too all over the shop. Fingers crossed. Sorry if it gets a bit messy, but we'll see how we go, okay? First question. Now, this is 3 questions in one, so I'm going to break it down. First question. What's your favorite thing you've ever made? My favorite thing that I have ever made personally would definitely be my millennial jumper. Still to this day, it's my most favorite thing that I've designed. I wear it all the time. Obviously not now because it is warming up a little bit, but during winter I wear it all the time. It's such a wearable garment. Absolutely love it. Hands down, that's my favorite thing that I've ever made. Favorite thing to make right now, garments. You know, jumpers, garments, they're my thing, so that's what I enjoy making. I find them very therapeutic as well. I kind of like bigger projects because I don't like little fiddly things. So things like garments and blankets and things like that, that's what I enjoy making because I don't like little fiddly things like amigurumi and stuff. I mean, I have made them in the past, but I don't enjoy it as much. And what should you make next? You should make a garment. Absolutely. If you've never done it before, don't be scared. I know garments can be a little bit daunting to think about, but I promise you, you can do it. You just have to take it one step at a time. So if you're asking me what I think you should make next, definitely a garment. If you could only use one yarn for the rest of your life, what would it be? For me, it would hands down be some kind of acrylic. I would probably go for like a 10-ply, so like an Aran or a worsted weight acrylic yarn. That's just what I enjoy working with. That's what I make most of my garments out of. So that would probably be the yarn I would choose if I had to work with one yarn for the rest of my life. Have you tried the Summer Stash squish yarn from Oz Yarn? Would love to know your thoughts. I have not, so I'm sorry I can't give you my thoughts on the Summer Stash squish yarn from Oz Yarn, but I can say that I have used other yarns from Oz Yarn and they've always been quite good. So if that's anything to go off, I'm assuming it will be quite good, but I haven't used it, so I can't really say. Sorry. Do you have a favourite mug and show it? Well, here's one I prepared earlier. I think I have actually spoken about this, I don't know if on my channel or on Instagram, but I actually don't have a favourite mug. I drink my coffees out of a double-walled glass. This is all I will drink my coffees out of now. I have a coffee machine. I'm a bit of a coffee snob, so I only drink coffee out of double-walled glasses. If I was having like a cup of tea or something, then yes, I would use a mug, but I wouldn't say I have a favourite. This is definitely my favourite thing to drink coffee out of though. What was your favourite class in high school? That is a great question. My favourite class probably would have been textiles. So I did textiles and we did sewing. I even did some knitting in that class. So there you go. Maybe it was a sign of things to come. Textiles was definitely my favorite, probably followed by outdoor ed, purely because we got to go on lots of camps. So that was always fun. Any update on the needle case you were working on? Congrats on the 20K too. Thank you so much. Yes, I actually do have an update. So if you guys aren't sure what I'm referring to, basically I have a business where I design bags and couch caddies and things like that, especially for people that crochet and knit. I have been working on two different cases, so one for interchangeable knitting needles and one for crochet hooks, and I am pleased to say that I have got my samples back. I have been through, I want to say, at least 10 samples of these cases. Is actually ridiculous. It's been so hard to get right. They were one of those designs that I thought, oh, this will be so easy, it'll be a piece of cake and, you know, production will be able to start straight away. It's been a nightmare. It's definitely been the hardest two products that I have ever had to design. So yes, I'm pleased to say that I did get another sample the other day and they are pretty much correct. So I'm thinking production on those will probably start really soon. But yeah, that's the update. Which pattern do you want to make but haven't had the courage to start yet? That's a great question. I actually don't think there's any, because if there's anything I want to start, I just do it. I'm not really scared to give anything a go. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's any designs that I'm kind of sitting on at the moment that I'm just too scared to start. Who's your favorite crochet creator on Instagram? I have a lot of favorites, I must admit, and I love them all for different reasons. I, of course, have to mention my best friend, my Instagram best friend, Nat from Rainbow Moon by Nat. I'm sure a lot of you probably know her. Her feed is filled with rainbows. It's absolutely beautiful, but she is also such a beautiful soul, and yeah, we're like best friends, so of course I have to mention her. I also love Janine from Knits and Knots. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about, but she designs some of the most beautiful garments. She's very inspiring and someone I definitely look up to in regards to designing and garments. I'll do a third one. Probably Sandra from Little Golden Nook. She's another fellow Aussie and she also designs garments, which I absolutely love. If you haven't checked out her designs, please do so. You are definitely missing out. She has the most beautiful colors. And yeah, I also find her super duper inspiring when it comes to designing and garments. So they would probably be my top three. Any Aussie stores you'd recommend for buying yarn other than the obvious, such as Spotlight? Great question. Obviously, you've got the obvious opposition, which is Lincraft. But then there are actually so many beautiful little yarn shops, like independent yarn shops that have a range of beautiful hand-dyed yarn and things like that. I don't know where you're from, to the person that asked this question, but if you type into Google or even into Google Maps, yarn store in my area or yarn store near me, they will pop up. You may not even be aware that they exist, but I guarantee you will have some beautiful little yarn stores around your area. If you live in like a metro area, maybe not so much rural, but you might. I don't know. But I personally love going into those little shops because you just find things that aren't so mainstream and they don't usually stock like big brands, if you know what I mean. So you're more likely to find some really cool little gems. When did you start crocheting and knitting? Well, fun fact, I actually learned how to knit before I learned how to crochet, even though crochet is definitely my strong point now. I would say I was probably about 8 years old when I first learned how to knit. And then shortly after I learned how to crochet, but my nan taught me how to knit, I'm pretty sure, and my mum taught me how to crochet. So yeah, I started when I was about 8. Have you always wanted to be a YouTuber? Absolutely not. I never even considered that I would ever be a YouTuber. I kind of just fell into it, I suppose. I think back in 2017 was when I first started uploading videos, and if you scroll right back to the start of my channel, you will be able to see them. They were atrocious. Sometimes I go back and watch them just for fun. But no, I never wanted to be a YouTuber. I never really saw it as any kind of opportunity or career. I literally was just uploading videos because I wanted to help people and kind of share my knowledge. It wasn't until the start of lockdown, so about 2 years ago, maybe just under 2 years ago, where I really started focusing on my channel and trying to grow it. And that was purely because I wasn't working. I ended up having about 8 months off work. And so I needed something to fill in the time, and I just focused on my YouTube channel, and that's when it started to grow. And 2 years later, here we are with over 20,000 subscribers. So yeah, it's just crazy how the world works, to be honest. But no, I never ever planned on being a YouTuber. I still wouldn't even say I'm a YouTuber, to be honest. This is not my full-time job. This is still just something I kind of do on the side. Would I like it to be my full-time job at some point in the future? Absolutely. If I had that option, of course, I would love to do that. But yeah, at the moment, I wouldn't even call myself a YouTuber. How did you get the idea for Maker? That's a great question. For those of you who don't know, Maker is the name of my business. As I mentioned before, I create or design and have manufactured project bags and couch caddies for people that crochet. And I'm currently working on a knitting needle case and a crochet hook case. Now, the inspiration for Maker, I guess, just came from a hole in the market. I found myself looking for a project bag, something that, you know, looked really stylish and didn't look like your typical project bags. I was quite young at the time. I think I was about 26. I think I was 26. And I was like, you know what, the traditional project bags just aren't what I'm after. I wanted something that looked more like a handbag rather than a project bag, something that I could also use as a handbag as well as a project bag. And I just saw there was a hole in the market. So I was like, I need to do something about it. And I did. So that's pretty much where my inspiration came from. The tote bag was the first thing I ever designed, had manufactured. That's my first product. And then I created the couch caddy, and now we've got the knitting needle and the crochet hook cases to come, and hopefully many more things to come in the future. But yeah, that was pretty much my inspiration, is just a hole in the market. The best and worst thing about being a flight attendant. Well, the best thing, of course, is the cheap/free flights. I used to get a certain amount of free flights every year, and then once I had used those, I could get really, really cheap flights. So that was definitely the best part, hands down. Also, I got to travel around and see a lot of Australia, which was amazing, and even some international destinations, all for free. Well, I was getting paid for it. So that's definitely the best part. The worst part, I would say, is the shift work and the hours. It is exhausting. I cannot describe to you how exhausted I felt all the time when I was flying. And the sad thing is, I actually didn't even realize how exhausted I was. It wasn't until COVID hit and I was stood down and I wasn't flying that I really noticed how good I felt when I wasn't flying for such a long period of time. And then I went back to flying and I was like, oh my God, I feel like absolute crap. I cannot describe to you the fatigue and just how drained you feel all the time, both physically and mentally. It's exhausting. Some days I had to get up at 3 a.m. to start work. Like, it was just nuts. A lot of the time we had minimum rest in between shifts as well. So we would have, 10 hours sometimes between shifts. And I'm not talking, a few hours here, a few hours there. Our shifts were long. We used to do 10 to 12 hours most days. So that is definitely the worst part, is just feeling absolutely crap all the time. Were you able to figure out the Maker and Amazon US situation? No. So I have actually pulled all of my products off of Amazon. I had so many issues. Yeah, it was all just a huge mess. I ended up just pulling all my products off and having them sent back to me because it just was not worth my time. And I was losing a lot of money because people were receiving the wrong products. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, basically I used to send my products over to Amazon in the US so I could target the US market. And I had a lot of issues with Amazon putting the incorrect labels on my products, and therefore people would order, say, a couch caddy, but they would receive a tote bag. and it was just a huge mess. And Amazon were really unhelpful in fixing the issue and didn't want to like admit that they had made a mistake. So it was honestly like talking to a brick wall. So in the end, I just pulled all my products, had them all sent back to me, and now I don't sell on Amazon at all. It could be something that I may consider again in the future, but right now it's just not worth the headache, to be honest. What was the first thing you ever crocheted? I would say the first thing I ever physically crocheted would probably have been a granny square. I'm pretty sure the first stitch I ever learnt was the granny stitch. But in regards to full finished product, I made a blanket and it was terrible. It was a corner to corner blanket. I think I had decreased incorrectly, so it was kind of more like a diamond shape rather than a square. It was really bad. But anyway, my dogs have claimed that now, so I don't even have it here to show you. But yeah, it was quite bad. But, you know, you've got to start somewhere. And that's what I always tell people when I'm trying to teach people. They think, oh, you know, I've got to get it perfect the first time. No, you don't. I was far from perfect when I first started crocheting. So everyone starts somewhere, and like with everything, practice makes perfect. Are you doing okay with the lockdowns happening? How's your work? Look, I'm not going to lie, I am absolutely over lockdown. Melbourne has been in the longest lockdown in the world, and that is no word of a lie, like that is fact. We've been in lockdown for something like over 200 or 300 days. Altogether, obviously we've had little gaps in between, but I'm talking like 1 week, 2 week gaps, and then we're straight back in lockdown. So over the last 2 years, we have pretty much spent a year in lockdown, and I'm well and truly over it. I really struggled last year towards the end of having my 8 months off. My mental health was really bad. I ended up having quite bad anxiety, and that was just purely because I am such a social person, and not being able to go out and see my friends, not being able to go see my family, it sucked. And I wasn't working, so I was just at home all day, every day by myself. And yeah, it really sucked. I'm not going to lie. I am a lot better now. Obviously, I am working now, so I have stopped flying. I don't fly anymore, which is great because, like I said before, I just felt like absolute crap when I was flying. So yeah, now I work for Lincraft as their knit and crochet pattern designer. I've only been there for a few weeks, so it's still very, very fresh, but I am enjoying doing something different, and I now have something to keep me occupied. I think if I was just sitting at home all day, every day, and I had nothing to do or nothing to focus on, then I would probably be back in the same boat where I was last year. Because yeah, it's been really tough. I'm not going to lie. Do you have any non-yarn related hobbies? Good question. Do I have any non-yarn related hobbies? I have been riding my bike a lot lately. I don't know if you would call that a hobby, but I recently bought a bike and it's been really nice weather in Melbourne lately, so I have been riding that quite a lot. I just got my roller skates out again today for the first time in months. I don't know if you guys remember, I was roller skating like back, oh, when was it? Maybe like at the start of the year when the weather was nice. I was roller skating quite a lot. And I just got them out literally today just to have a practice, and I'm like a beginner again, but I'm hoping to get back into that a little bit. Other than that, not really. I enjoy scrolling on TikTok and watching Netflix. How did you start your business? I would love some advice and tips. I literally have just faked my way through the entire thing. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know what I was doing when I first started my business. I just Googled everything, and literally Google and YouTube are your best friend. If you Google how to start a business or steps to starting a business or something like that, it will tell you everything you need to know. I'm not sure if you're in Australia, so it may be different where you're from, but basically to start a business, all you need to do is go online, set up an ABN first of all, and then basically after that, you need to figure out kind of like your strategy, if you want to be a product-based business, a service-based business, what you want to do exactly, like what you want to sell to people. And then you need to figure out if you need a website, are you going to have a brick and mortar store, things like that. I mean, it's kind of just a natural flow when you're starting a business. But if you are stuck on anything, all I can say is YouTube and Google are absolutely your best friends. They have been my best friends and they still are to this very day, even though I've had my business for like 2 years now. I'm still Googling and YouTubing things that I'm not sure of. So that's all I can say. And another thing I would say is if you are thinking of starting a business, just do it. You don't have to be perfect. So I feel like a lot of people are scared of starting a business because they're not fully planned or they don't have everything perfect yet. And the thing is, you'll never be perfect. So if you're waiting for something to be perfect, you will never start. My advice is just get out there, get started, and you just learn everything along the way. How do you fit in crochet and knitting with your job? Well, the fun thing is that knitting and crochet is now my job. So that's how I fit it in. But previous to that, when I was flying, I used to take it with me. I used to, if I was doing overnights, I would take my crochet in my overnight bag and I would do it in the hotel, and then I would just do it on my days off or, you know, after or before work, depending how tired I was. But yeah, that's pretty much how I did it. Do you enjoy being a flight attendant? Are you international or just Australian? Well, again, I'm actually not a flight attendant anymore, but I did enjoy it for the most part. Towards the end, I was really, really over it. And again, it was purely just because I felt like absolute crap all the time and I just wasn't enjoying it. But for the most part, I did enjoy it, yes. And I just did domestic around Australia, but we did also sometimes do Bali, New Zealand and Fiji. And I did get to do Bali and New Zealand, so that was fun. What is your favourite brand of yarn? I actually wouldn't say I have an absolute favourite. If I had to choose, it would probably be Paintbox, only because I just love their range of colours. They've got so many colour options and their yarn is quite good quality, so probably Paintbox if I had to choose one. What's your favourite food? Oh God, I love so much food. I'm very much a food person. My absolute favourite in regards to like takeaway food or something I wouldn't cook myself would definitely be Indian. I absolutely love Indian food. I love like hot curries. My go-to is probably like a vindaloo. But yeah, Indian food is definitely my favourite takeaway food. My favourite food to say cook at home would be something slow cooked. I really love doing like a ragu, so like a pasta or a spaghetti with like a slow cooked ragu. Otherwise, I really love doing like a slow cooked lamb shoulder and either using that as like a roast and having it with gravy or shredding it and putting it into souvlakis. So that's probably my two favourite meals that I cook at home. How did you sell your things? I can make but struggle with selling. I'm assuming you're talking about selling finished product, and to be honest, I didn't sell finished product for very long at all. Reason being is it is very, very competitive, and I'm not going to lie, it is really hard to sell finished products. When I was selling, I used to sell on Etsy and I did sell quite a few things. That would probably be your best starting point. If you are wanting to sell finished products, you need to sell on Etsy because that's where people go to look for handmade items. I wouldn't recommend straight away starting up like a Shopify or your own website because you're just not going to have the traffic. Unless you've built up your, say, social media following or your client base, I wouldn't recommend going straight into your own website because you want to bring in that traffic, and that's what Etsy's great for. They bring in the traffic for you pretty much. All you need to do is list your items and people are going to see them, provided that your listings are good, obviously. You want to focus on your photography. That is like 99% of selling is the photography. You need to make sure your photos are really good quality. They're nice and bright. I recommend taking photos in natural lighting, and you also want to have a good range of photos. So, you know, you might do like a flat lay photo, you might do a lifestyle shot. So say you've made a baby beanie, you would have a photo of a beanie, a photo of a baby wearing that beanie. Because people want to know exactly what they're buying. It's hard buying online because you can't feel it, you can't try it on, you know, so you want to make sure that your photos give the buyer the best idea of what they're purchasing. And same goes for your descriptions. You want to make sure your descriptions are nice and in-depth, because if the customer's not sure about something, they're not going to buy it. So that's probably my biggest tips. Good luck, but it is a dog-eat-dog world out there and it is very competitive. I'm not saying that you can't sell stuff. Absolutely, there's room for everyone in the market. I 100% believe that, but you just need to make yourself stand out. So things like good photography, good descriptions, that's a great starting point. All right, I'm going to do one more question and then we'll wrap things up. I feel like this video is going to drag on forever. So one more question. Why did you move recently? You had crap neighbors, but didn't know if it was because of them. No, so I didn't move because of my crap neighbors. I mean, yes, they were crap, but no, I didn't move because of them. I actually moved because my husband and I separated about 6 months ago. And obviously when that happens, you need to move house. So that's why I moved. So I am currently living with my best friend, Jess, and we are having a great time, I must admit. But that's also why I wanted to talk to you guys, because stupidly, I decided I would base my whole brand around my married name being Kate Polizzi. So now I have to deal with those consequences and change my name on all my social media accounts, including my YouTube channel and website and email addresses and everything like that, which is going to be a little bit of a process, but that is why you guys would have seen a little change to my intro, and that's a little bit of a hint. Well, not really a hint because that's what my name is going to be. My name will be changing to Katie Ree across all my channels, so YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, website, TikTok. Instagram and TikTok have already been changed, so if you are looking for me on there, you want to search for Katie Ree and not Kate Polizzi. But yeah, that is basically why I moved house and why my name is going to be changing. So I just wanted to let you all know, because obviously my YouTube channel name will be changing. So if you are looking for me and you can't find me, that's why. So that will probably take place over the next few days after I have posted this video and I've given you guys enough time to watch it and so you know what's going on. But yeah, that is that. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you were able to learn a little bit more about me. And thank you once again for 20,000 subscribers, or 22,000 subscribers now. I am so very grateful for each and every one of you. I'm so happy that you guys have stuck around, even though I haven't been that active over the past 6 months, purely because I've been going through some shit. But I really appreciate you guys sticking around, and I promise I am getting back on the horse. But yeah, I've just had life to deal with. So anyway, thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications so you will be notified of all my future videos. In the meantime, stay safe and I'll see you next time. Bye!